Jashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vana Chari Jamuna Tira Vana Chari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivrajak Acharya Ashtotar Sutta Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai Vrindavan Dham ki jai Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai Ganga Mai ki jai Jamuna Mai ki jai Tulsi Devi ki jai Bhakti Devi ki jai Shamaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga Hari Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Krishna. Welcome everyone for the Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 8th chapter, 34th verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bharavatarnayanye Bhuvo na vivadathao Sidantya bhuriparena jato yatma bhuvartitha bharavatarana ayanye bhuvo nava iva dadhao Sidantya bhuriparena jato yatma bhuvartita bharavatarayanye bhuvo nava ivo dadhao Sidantya bhuriparena jato yatma bhuvartita. Just a comment on this, the last word is bhuvartita with a dot under it. So technically it's you say it bhuvartitaha. You know that. I don't usually do it. Because Srila Prabhupada didn't often do it. Sometimes he did, but not often. That's right. But technically it's bhuvartitaha. So you can chant either way. Hare Krishna. Good, please chant.
Sidantya bhuriparena
Jato yatma bhuvartita bhuvo navi vaudhatau Siddhyantya bhuriparena jato yatma bhuvartita Bharavatarayanye bhuvo navivo dadhao Sidantya bhuriparena jato yatma bhuvartita. Anybody online? You have to unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Bharavatarayanye
I'm sorry, we had one more person to chant here. The devotee who was chanting just then, that we interrupted. Please go ahead. Go ahead. No? All right.
Online, go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhu. Bharavatarayanye
Bharavatarayanye
bhuvo navaivo dadao
bhuvo navaivo dadhao
Sidantya bhuribharena
Sidantya bhuriparena
jato hyatma bhuvartithah.
jato yatma bhuvartitah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anyone else online?
Bhagavatarayanye
Bharavatarayanye
Bhuvo Nava Ivo Dadau
bhuvo navaivo dadhao
Sidantya Bhuri Bharena
Sidantya bhuriparena
Tato Hi Atma Bhuvartitah
Tato Yatma Bhuvartitaha.
Hare Krishna.
Bharavatarnaya. Just to reduce the burden of the world. Anye. Others. Bhuva. Of the world. Nava. Boat. Eva. Like. Udadhao. On the sea. Siddhantya. Aggrieved. Bhuri. Extremely. Bharena. By the burden. Jata. You were born. He certainly. Atma Bhuva. By Brahma. Artita. Being prayed for. Translation. Others say that the world, being overburdened like a boat at sea, is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. Purport. Brahma, or the first living being born just after the creation, is the direct son of Narayana. Narayana, as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, first of all entered the material universe. Without spiritual contact, matter cannot create. This principle was followed from the very beginning of the creation. The Supreme Spirit entered the universe, and the first living being, Brahma, was born on a lotus flower grown out of the transcendental abdomen of Vishnu. Vishnu is therefore known as Padmanabha. And Brahma is known as Atma Bhu because he was begotten directly from the Father without any contact of Mother Lakshmi Ji. Lakshmi Ji was present near Narayana, engaged in the service of the Lord, and still, without contact with Lakshmi Ji, Narayan begot Brahma. That is the omnipotency of the Lord. One who foolishly considers Narayana like other living beings should take a lesson from this. Narayana is not an ordinary living being. He is the personality of Godhead himself. And he has all the potencies of all the senses in all parts of his transcendental body. An ordinary living being begets a child by sexual intercourse, and he has no other means to beget a child other than the one designed for him. But Narayana, being omnipotent, is not bound to any condition of energy. He is complete and independent to do anything and everything by his various potencies very easily and perfectly. Brahma is therefore directly the son of the Father and was not put into the womb of a mother. Therefore, he is known as Atma Bhu. This Brahma is in charge of further creations in the universe, secondarily reflected by the potency of the omnipotent. Within the halo of the universe, there is a transcendental planet known as Svetadvip, which is the abode of Kiradakshai Vishnu, the Paramatma feature of the Lord. Whenever there is trouble in the universe that cannot be solved by the administrative demigods, they approach Brahmaji for a solution. And if it is not to be solved even by Brahmaji, Then Brahmaji consults and prays to the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu for an incarnation and solution to the problems. Such a problem arose when Kanks and others were ruling over the earth, and the earth became too much overburdened by the misdeeds of the Asuras. Brahmaji, along with other demigods, prayed at the shore of the Kshirodak ocean, and they were advised of the descent of Krishna as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. So some people say that the Lord appeared because of the prayers of Brahmaji. Om Jnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sha Pandantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. These beautiful, erudite, and enchanting prayers are being offered to Lord Krishna by Mother Kunti, Queen Kunti, the mother of the Pandavas. Just before Lord Krishna's about to leave. And in these prayers, she is talking about the transcendental position of Lord Krishna. You know the first shloka, first prayer. Namasye Purusham Tvadyam Ishwaram Prakrite Param Alaksham Sarva Bhutana Antar Bahir Avastitam. Yeah. Namasye. Even though she is the aunt, and she's technically the superior in age and respectability, but she's offering her obeisances too, because she's not an illusion. She's Purusham Tvadyam. You're the original person. There's no one before you. Just like in the Brahma Samhita, which we say as a regular daily function on the instruction of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami. It says, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam, Adyam, Purana Purusham, Navayovanam Cha. He's non-dual, Advaitam. Achyutam, infallible. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadi, beginningless. Anantarupam. Anantarupam. So this is a little bit of a paradox there. Because he started out by saying, Brahma says, Advaitam is non-dual. He's one. And then Anantarupam. At the same time, he has unlimited forms. How's that? How can he be one and have unlimited forms? That's many, right? Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Or another understanding of that Anantarupam means his form is Ananta. It's unlimited. His form, different than our form. So Adyam Puranam, the original person, the oldest person, Navayovanam Cha, but always a fresh youth. This is the transcendental science of God. And this is a wonderful, Srila Prabhupada is delivering this wonderful understanding that we can't figure out by our mundane speculative method. It's not possible because it's beyond. Achyuta means he's beyond the sense, or adhokshaja, akshaja. Akshaja means from the sense aksha's eyes, and ja means gotten from the eyes. Adhokshaja is beyond what you can get from your senses or your speculation. So this knowledge, Queen Kunti is saying here, it's so wonderful. Her prayers are there. And she's talking about different possible factors that contributed or that are people say are the cause of Lord Krishna's descent to the material world from the spiritual world. This is, we call it the avatar. Avatar, one who comes down, avatar. But we also to know that Lord Krishna is not just an avatar, but he's an avatari, the source of all avatars. Ete chang sakala pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Vidayanti Yuge Yuge. So Queen Kunti, right off the bat, we see that she is so incredibly advanced devotee. In this, mundane world, there are many different religions, various kinds of religions for different kinds of people. But primarily, they'll say, God can't come to the material world, isn't it? It's not possible. God can't come to the material world. He may send a prophet, a Messiah, a son, but he himself doesn't come. You know that? Yeah, and the Abrahamic religions, they don't accept this point. But in the Vedic culture, yes, it's Krishna describes his descent again and again. This is wonderful. So what are the reasons they don't accept the possibility of the advent of God? How come they say that?
They just limit the God.
Yes, they have a limited conception of God. If they have an idea of God, since he's the oldest person, he's very old. He looks old, yeah. And or their conception of God is tinged with impersonalism. Because if God isn't really a person, then he can't come. So Lord Krishna comes just to reassure his devotees and prove that God is a person. Of course, his personality is anantarupam. It's incredible. It's beyond our ability our idea of persons. We're limited persons. Anoraniyam mahato mahiyam. He's a great person and we're limited persons, but still, he's a person. So tinged with impersonalism, they say, oh, God can't come. And sometimes you'll see pictures they'll have of God as a light. And in fact, if you go to the internet and you search, I don't know, you can't believe everything you can see on the internet, right? But if you search, you'll find there's hundreds of videos out there, YouTube videos, about how you can meditate and become God, in case you ever wanted to do that. You can do that. You'll find it. You search that, I challenge you. Yeah. So if you want to become God, yeah. But the fact is, though, according to the Queen Kunti, the Vedic literatures, no one can ever become God because God is always God. He doesn't have to do anything to become God. If he likes, certainly he can come into this world if he likes. Who's going to stop him? If you say God is all powerful and you say he can't come into this world, then you're saying something is more powerful than him. So right off the bat, Queen Kunti is recognizing this, and she's already going to the next step. Let's try to understand how we can understand how is it that Krishna is coming? Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is coming to this material world. And why is she asking like that? What is the function? Because devotees like to understand Krishna from his various aspects, and Krishna declares in Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter, if you can understand about this, if you can understand about his birth and his activities, janma karma cha me devyam, evam yoveti tattvata, chaktva deham punar janma, naiti mahameti sarjuna. We can really get a handle on this, you won't have to take another birth. You'll go back to Godhead. So this is very important subject matter for us, the appearance of God and what's contributing to that. And this is particularly relevant nowadays, today, because we're just right before, I suppose this is probably the reason this one of the verses was picked, because we're right before the advent of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna's appearance, Janmashtami, just a few days away. So Queen Kunti is saying, some people say that just like a boat, when it's got too many, there was a famous shipwreck in the West. It was called what was that? Titanic. Thank you. Yeah, you're with me. And so, they didn't have enough lifeboats. And they say that, sometimes there are people who were trying to get on the lifeboats and they said, no, you can't get on because the boat would be overburdened and capsize.
Right.
So, yeah, so the earth, it's a very delicate balance here, very delicate balance. But sometimes it becomes overburdened. That same word is overburdened, given by Srila Prabhupada in the beginning of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Overburdened. Why? Jai Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Balaram. By the unnecessary defense force of kings who are actually demons, but posing as the royal order. Sometimes it said they were actually not Kshatriyas, but so the point being that in order to be the royal order, to be a leader of persons, there has to be some qualification, not just, you can put on a dress or be elected by people, and therefore you can declare yourself a leader. But no, there has to be qualifications. Just like in the Krishna consciousness movement, the leader, Srila Prabhupada, was a wonderful, amazing sadhu empowered by Lord Krishna. So he was able to lead the society, and if you think about it, well, there are many different religions, like I mentioned, and the great leaders of those religions, for example, Lord Jesus Christ or Hazrat Muhammad, how far did Lord Jesus Christ preach? What locale did he preach? Just a few towns in the Middle East, right? Hazrat Muhammad, maybe in Mecca, Medina, and a few towns around there. Some later disciples carried his teachings, but Srila Prabhupada, empowered by Lord Chaitanya, went all around the world in his day, at his time, everywhere, to every continent except, of course, Antarctica, and spread this Krishna consciousness movement. So if you have to compare it with Srila Prabhupada's activities and influence and the leaders of great religions, you have to say that Srila Prabhupada was even more dynamic and more empowered by Krishna. If you're an impartial observer, we're not going to fight with anybody, but anyway, an impartial observer. Srila Prabhupada's, and there's a nice verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam that predicts the activities of Srila Prabhupada. It goes like this: Kirata, Pulandra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abira, Shumba, Yavana, Kasadaya, Yenye, Chapapa, Tarupasraya Shraya, Shujanti Tasmai, Prabhavishnave Namaha. Kiratas are hunters. Huns, who are the Huns? Germans. Pulindas, like Greeks. Andhra. And the letter says, Ye Chapapa, all these sinful people. So wait a minute, how is it that Andhras are sinful? Usually you think that Andhras are anybody from Andhra here?
Oh,
And they usually think that people from Andhra are a little bit pious, no? Yeah. So I asked that question to devotees, and it was some devotees researched, and apparently, this is a side issue, now we're talking side issue, that Vishvamitra had 100 sons. And then he wanted to adopt another son, oldest son. And so he told his biological sons, you should accept this son, one of my sons, as your older brother. So half of his sons said, okay, Dad. And the other half said, no way, we're not accepting as our. So then Vishvamitra cursed them to be outside the Vedic fold and sent them to Andhra Pradesh. Andhra, Kirata Hunandra, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkasa, Abira, Shumba, Yavana, Turks, or Kasadaya, Chinese people. Yenyecha Papa. So where is this? The reason I say this is a prediction of Srila Prabhupada's activities, or Yeah, because where do you find someone? Where do you find where people all over the world, the Karatas, the Huns, the Yavanas, they've been purified by the association of the pure devotee of Krishna. You don't find. This is Srila Prabhupada's activities are exemplary like that. So getting back to the point of Krishna's appearance, why he is appearing, we know that Krishna describes his appearance in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So in the 3rd, 2nd, and 3rd chapter, Krishna's divinity is not developed yet very much. Like in the 3rd chapter, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Yagyartat karmanonyatra loko yam karma bandhanam tadartam karma kuntaya mukta sangha samachara. He says, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds us to the material world. Okay? Therefore, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in this way, you'll become unattached and free from bondage. So, devotees, they have to think how I can utilize everything in Krishna service. And if we have a job or anything working, then it's really important that we spiritualize that activity by regular contributions to Krishna consciousness movement. But here you have Krishna, the Supreme Vishnu, is saying, give your sacrifice to Vishnu. You follow? Krishna's the Supreme Vishnu. He said, give your sacrifice to Vishnu. But in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, then Krishna says, Lord Krishna, he says, I spoke the science to the sun god Vivaswan, the same science of yoga. And Vivaswan instructed to Manu, Manu instructed to Ikshvaku, and the saintly kings, they understood like that. So then Arjuna had a doubt, a question. What was that doubt? He said, what do you mean? How can you say that you spoke? The sun god, he was way, way before you. Yeah. So then Krishna reveals, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjana. Many births both you and I have taken, and that I remember them, but you can't. The reason he can remember them, because he doesn't change his body. And then he says, a Jopi son of Yatma, even though I'm unborn, a Jopi son of Yatma, and my transcendental body never deteriorates. A Jopi son, Bhutanan Ishwaropi son, and I'm the Lord of everybody, the Lord of the whole world. Prakritim Shvamadishtaya Sambhavami Atmamaya. I still come. Even though he's unborn, he still comes. He's unborn, he still comes. This is, this is the paradox. So Lord Chaitanya has given us this wonderful philosophy of Achintya Ved Abhed Tattva to help us understand, try to clear up these apparent inconsistencies, which are all over the Vedas. The Vedas say God has no eyes, but he sees everything. He has no ears, but he hears everything. He walks, but he doesn't walk. So this sounds like a riddle. But when Krishna comes as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his walking is not like our walking. His walking is transcendental. He can take one step and he's across the universe, and we can barely get it. Even if we're a long jumper, we can maybe get a few feet. That's it. So his walking and our walking, his seeing and our seeing, he's still seeing. He's still a person, but it's such a different, an unlimited quality to that we can appreciate. So some people say that God cannot come, but in Vedic literature, Mother Kunti is appreciating that he's coming, and now she's trying to get an idea of why that is. And this isn't and she's going back to the idea of Garbhadaksha. Prabhupada's talking about Garbhadakshay Vishnu and Kshiradakshay Vishnu. And as Bhima Prabhu was nicely describing yesterday about the different expansions of Lord Krishna, because in this material world, generally people think of the predominant idea of how the world and the universe is created is by some combination of material elements and an explosion. What's that called? The Big Bang. The Big Bang. That's the predominating idea.
Or Buddhist theory, where matter can lead to life.
Yes, Buddha. Yeah, I mean, there's different parts of the creation. One is the the whole cosmic creation, and one is the creation of the living entity. But these ideas, Srila Prabhupada was very, very strong, and he wanted the Krishna consciousness movement to have a Bhaktivedanta Institute to counteract these atheistic ideas. Where do you find in our existence a very complex arrangement of things that's arrived at by chance? You know, in the early days of, in the 1800s, when they looked through those primitive microscopes, they saw these one-cell little like parameciums, and they look just like a bag with some water inside and a dot. So it's so simple. So it looks so simple. So it could just, there's something called coacervates. It's almost like, you just have to adjust a little bit and it could happen just by chance. Maybe you could think that. But now, people know that this even one cell is more complex than a computer. One cell. So where are you going to think? You're walking down the street and there's an explosion and a computer comes out. I mean, from the explosion, not because it was already there. And you think it's impossible. Or just like you're walking along the shore of an ocean, and on the shore of the ocean there's sand, and sometimes people like to build sand castles and sometimes sculptures in the sand. So you're walking along, and so somebody said, "Oh, yeah, this just the waves came in and it left this sand castle there." Is that reasonable? No, and that's very simple compared to even a cell, and what to speak of the human body, what to speak of how the universe is acting. So Queen Kunti is well aware of that. And there's this a person behind the creation, behind the development of everything in a very orderly way. And Srila Prabhupada is describing that in this purport of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Why Garbhodakshaya? Why Garbhodakshaya? In Krishna's appearance, there were Shad Garbhas. Before Lord Balaram's appearance, Mother Devaki had six sons that were all killed by Kanks. That's very interesting, very interesting. Why did they? How is it that they were killed by Kamsa? Because initially, the voice from the sky said the eighth son is going to be the death of Kamsa. And when Devaki gave birth to the first son, Vasudeva had promised that he would bring, if there were any sons, we didn't know if there would be sons at the time, but if there were any sons, he would bring them to Kamsa for his do whatever he wants. So he brought the son to Kamsa. And Kamsa said, "Don't worry, O Vasudeva." He was a little bit touched. It's not this son, it's the eighth son. I don't have any danger from this son. So what happened? What happened? Narad Muni. Why did Narad Muni do that? Huh? What was that? To expedite the arrival of the appearance of Krishna. So does that mean that you can do things? You can do things to increase to accelerate the appearance of Krishna? I don't know. Advaita Acharya, he prayed to Krishna and worship Shalagram Shila and with the Gangas. Anyway, so there was but before. So when Narada Muni told him, well, you don't know any of these, the demigods are already appearing. Any of these children might be. The implication was any of these children could be God. So then Kamsa killed the first 6 sons of Devaki, and they were called Shadgarbhas. Shadgarbha because within the womb. So Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is there. He's termed Garbhodakshaya Vishnu because the universe is like the womb, and inside that's Vishnu goes inside. He's Garbhodakshaya. And then he's from his navel. So we're talking. Prabhupada is talking about, like we say in the morning at during the Brahma Samhita. Angani yasyasa kalendriya vritti manti pashyanti panti, like that. All of his senses can do the work of all the other senses. He can eat with his eyes. Can you eat with with your eyes? Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. You know, if you see some delicious prasadam, and then you think, oh yes, and there's a certain satisfaction, but not completely, not fully like Krishna. He can eat fully with, and he can also leave that prasadam back, or he can hear with his nose. He can propagate with his abdomen without any help from anybody. And from that abdomen, Lord Brahma is coming. So Brahma, as mentioned in the purport, Lord Brahma being the head demigod, the primal demigod within the universe, when there's trouble, the other demigods and goddesses, in this case, they can approach Brahma if they can't handle it. So when Brahma heard that there was such disturbance on the earth, he went to the shore of the ocean of milk. You know, in Vedic weddings, after the whole ceremony is almost done, you know what they do? They go out at night, and the priest points at Dhruva Loka. Yeah, you know that? And they say, just like the Dhruva star is fixed in your marital vows will be fixed like that. Yeah, Dhruva. So that Dhruva Loka, that's the pole star. That's the place of Shirirakshay Vishnu. Shirirakshay Vishnu. And so why is Krishna coming? Why is Krishna coming? So Queen Kunti has given many different views, and now she's saying because of the prayers of Lord Brahma, something to we say sometimes that Krishna comes out of his causeless mercy. You've heard that before? Causeless mercy. What does that mean, causeless mercy?
Without any cause.
No reason.
Because of his own, he wants to come.
Patita pavana hetu tavavatar. Hetu means cause, right? Patita pavana hetu, this is a prayer by Narottam Das. Patita pavana hetu tavavatar. But you want to come to deliver the fallen souls, he says. That's because it's not because somebody deserves it. It's not no material cause. But let's think about it. Here we are in this material world. Why are we here in the material world? Icha dvesh. Icha dvesh. Icha means desire, and dvesh,
Being envious.
envious. Usually it's translated envious, but in the Bhagavad Gita, in this verse, it's translated as hate. Hate. Icha dvesh. Icha dvesh. Everybody's born in this world. So think about this. This is Krishna's potency, Krishna's love of the living entities. If somebody hates you, will you want to go and see him? Take care of him? Will you give them, supply all their needs if they hate you? Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadati kama. There's one supreme eternal and many subordinate eternals, one supreme consciousness and many subordinate consciousnesses. And the one supreme eternal and supreme conscious is supplying all the needs, all the requirements for all the other eternals, and even though they hate him. That's us, right? And in the marriage, at least in the West, they say they vow to be together, and then there's a statement of until death do us part. Have you heard this? That's what they say in the West. Until death do you part. They make a vow like that. But in the instance of Lord Krishna, he stays with the soul even after death, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, even though we're not interested in him, even though we're ignoring him practically all the time. Isn't it? This is something. This is something. And Krishna's just looking, waiting, hoping, asking that we turn our face to him. Krishna Bhuliaji Bhogavan Chakare Pashate Mayatare Japati Adare. I said that yesterday. Yeah. And Krishna is so kind that he's coming and he's trying to steer us in the right direction, but we generally we ignore. So that's another instance, purpose of Krishna's coming. And he declares in Bhagavad Gita, he describes his mission statement. Prabhupada says his mission statement. What is that? Paritranaya sadhunam. Just like in a corporation or something, they have their mission statements. It's Krishna's mission statement. Paritranaya sadhunam. Vinashaya dushkritam dharma samsthapanartaya sambhavami yuge. Yeah. This is, yeah. So trying to understand Krishna, we can think about it in different ways, just as Mother Kunti, Queen Kunti is doing. And it gives us a hand. And you know something, Krishna, because he's clever and expert, there can be he can do many things at once. Many things. It doesn't have to be just one thing. Just like in the Govardhan Leela, you remember Govardhan? Krishna accomplished many things by that one Leela. What are some things that he accomplished? I'm asking. I'm asking.
He showed his opulence.
Yeah, he showed he can lift a mountain with the little finger of the left hand. He's the most powerful person. Giri Banadhari. Yeah.
Affection for devotee also.
He protects his devotees. If even he protects his devotees, even though they angered a demigod. You know, they were thinking better, we got to worship, we're dependent on Indra because he supplies the rain, and we're farming people. We need the rain for the cows, for the grasses and the crops and all. So if we neglect Indra, then not a good deal. There was some concern like that. And so Lord Krishna said, is this ceremony for Indra, is this something in the Vedas? Or is this just a popular ceremony? So he said, because you gotta, if you know why you're doing things, then you'll get the result, full result. But if you don't really know why you're doing things, then you know, you won't get such a good result. So then what did Nanda Maharaj says? Okay, he says, okay, we'll do a separate sacrifice for Govardhan Hill, and we'll also do the sacrifice for Indra. Just like, you know, in some of our, you know, some temples, they have, you know, Shiva, Durga, and also Krishna's there, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the same. Nanda Maharaj is saying that. Yeah, just we'll also worship. We'll worship these. Yeah. That's the case. But what did Krishna say? He said, no, there's not enough time. This is before Kali Yuga. What to speak of in Kali Yuga? There's not enough time. So just concentrate only on Govardhan Hill, worship Govardhan. And then Krishna appeared. He incarnated as Govardhan Hill. Yeah. So, you know, he was showing no need to worship any other demigod. No need to worship any other gods. Just Krishna's enough. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam. Ekam means only. That's all required. He showed that he didn't want his devotees to worship anybody else. He didn't want it. That was another thing. And at the same time, he curbed the pride of Indra, who's his devotee. Even though he acted like a demon, he was trying to kill Krishna and the residents of Vrindavan. But Krishna curbed his pride to get him back on the right track. So by that one pastime, he could accomplish so many things. So Krishna, he doesn't have to be limited to just one thing. He can be, one activity can serve so many purposes at once. And so Queen Kunti is describing some of those purposes, and it's very good for us to know those purposes, because then we can really begin to understand the opulence and the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and have much more reverence and appreciation for him. Lord Krishna is so great. He said, one of the things he said is he came to kill Kamsa. Some say he came to kill Kamsa. And Krishna is so kind that even if they're demons, but even he kills the demons, he delivers them. Yeah. You got an enemy, you kill him, but then they get the benefit of almost the benefit of the devotees, right? Putana came like a witch, a Kechari witch, and she wanted to assassinate Krishna, but Krishna gave her. He sucked the life air out of her and gave her a position like a maidservant of Mother Yashoda. Just because she approached Krishna with a little smidgen, slight amount of a devotional attitude. That's the potency of Krishna. So Krishna is so kind, he's coming in so many different ways. And so it's just to help us to think and to think about him and remember him and serve him. He's coming, he comes as comes himself personally. That's like when, say there's a disaster. Some years back they had a big hurricane in Louisiana. Remember that? Yeah. And so, the president could send his representative there. But if they're really serious, he'll go himself, isn't it? He'll go himself, not just send a representative. So if Krishna's really, he comes himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Oh.
And he also, in some of the Western religions, they'll say, well, God gave his only begotten son, the one son. But Krishna is so kind, he's given not only one son, but he'll give, like waves of the river, the incarnations are coming, one after another. Hundreds of thousands of incarnations are coming for the same purpose. One part of that purpose is to deliver us so that we'll have eternal life. This is the wealth and wonder of Krishna. And these things are all given to us, are instructed to us by Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas. This wonderful, we couldn't figure this out. We had no possible figure this out. Remember Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya being impersonalist. When Lord Chaitanya came to Jagannath Puri, so Sarvabhauma thought, well, he's so attractive. And he's supposed to be a renunciant. How is he going to be a renunciant? He's so attractive. Everybody's going to be attracted to him. So I said, let me teach him Vedanta, because that way I'll fix him up in renunciation. So Lord Chaitanya's devotees got angry, were unhappy about that. And they were debating with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, they were saying he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's Lord Chaitanya is God. It's like nowadays, there's different types of Vaishnavas, and some of them don't accept Lord Chaitanya as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like Sarvabhauma. But then his Sarvabhauma's brother-in-law, Gopinath Acharya, said, Bhagavata Bharata Dvi Shastra Pradhan. You're talking very, very intelligently, but you don't even know these two Shastras, Bhagavata Bharata. Bhagavata means Srimad Bhagavatam, Bharata means Mahabharata. You don't know these basic things. Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sangopangashta Parshadam Jagyar Sankirtana Praya Yajanti Hi Sumedhasa. Specifically, when Karabhajana Muni was asked by Maharaj Nimi, can you tell me about the incarnations in the various ages? And then he said, well, what about Kali Yuga? And Karabhajana Muni said, this verse, Krishna Varnam, Tvisha Krishnam, Sangopangashta Parshadam, Jagyar Sankirtana Praya Yajanti Sumedhasa. Krishna will come in Kali Yuga. Sometimes it's said that he's called Tri Yuga Avatar. Tri Yuga Avatar just means in this age, Yuge. Bhagavad Gita says Yuge, he comes in every age. He's covered, a Channa Avatar. He comes, he's Krishna Varnam, he's in the same category as Krishna, but Tvish Akrishnam, but he's not the physical looks of Krishna. Krishna came as Shyama, Lord Chaitanya came as Gauranga, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam. Sangopangashtra Parshadam. Krishna had his weapons like what? Chakra. Shank, Gada, 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 yeah. Shangavo, right. But who are his weapons? In this case, his weapons are his associates, Panchatattva. Chango Pangashtra Pashanam Jagyar Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Sumedhasa. And those who are really desirous of going back home, back to God, those are Sumedhasa. Medha means smart. And Sumedhasa means very smart or woke. Chief Jago, right? Chief Jago. So those are very intelligent. What? Jajanti Hisumedha, they'll do Sankirtana Prayer. That's Lord Chaitanya. And in the Mahabharata, Suvarna Varna Hemango, Varangas Changanagadi. Yeah, he's golden complexion. And Varangas, he's got a very big, beautiful body. Lord Chaitanya was very big. Yeah, he'll be, and he'll be take sannyasa, kich shamashanto, nitya parayana, nitya shanti parayana. So he said this to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma didn't take it very seriously, even though these were Vedic verses. He accepted it, but the Sarvabhauma just took it. So then, Gopinath Acharya said this one, in very nice verse that Prabhupada loves. Atapi te deva padambujadvayam prashado leshanu grihita evahi janati tatvam bhagavan mahino nichanyam ekopi chiran vichinvan. He said, you can go on speculating about God for millions of years, but you'll not be able to get even any understanding of God. You do it for a million years. But prashado leshan, if you get a drop of mercy, prashado leshan means a drop of mercy, then you can understand. So this Krishna consciousness movement, started by Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya, the Acharyas, is there to distribute drops of mercy to all the living entities on the earth planet and in the universe, actually. How? Deen heen jata chilo harinam udharilo. Tar shakti jagai madhai. By spreading the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Golo kera prema dhan harinam sankirtan. This chanting of the holy names is not something that's manufactured, but it's coming directly from the spiritual world. Golo kera prema dhana harinam sankirtan. So we'll take that mercy and accept it and try to give it to others also. Bhima Prabhu gave a nice response to the woman who was in the class yesterday, Sunday. She asked him, how can we have more faith in the Hare Krishna mantra? And he said, do you remember what he said? And it was
Give it to others.
Yes, he said, give it to others. And I was thinking about that. And that's Lord Chaitanya's method. Lord Krishna also. He said, there's no more dear person to me than that person who spreads the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, which is encapsulated in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And when Lord Chaitanya came with his associates, the statement is that when Krishna came, he brought with him a storehouse of love of God, but it was locked. But when Lord Chaitanya came with his associates, he broke the seal and he plundered the contents just in order to deliver love of God to everybody. And then he said, the more it was distributed, the stock increased. The same point. So think about it. If you got $10 in your pocket, and you know that if you give that $10 to somebody, you'll get $20 or $100 in your pocket. Don't you think you'll be giving $10 to somebody? You think about it. Yeah, of course. So if you have whatever little appreciation or love of God or appreciation of Krishna consciousness you have, if you give it to somebody else, your own Krishna consciousness will increase. This is Lord Chaitanya's movement, and Bhima Prabhu was very nicely explaining that yesterday. So we try to follow in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada and Kunti, trying to understand Lord Chaitanya's activities, Lord Krishna's activities, his appearance. Joe, even though he's unborn, he takes birth. Even though he looks like he's got a physical body and ordinary, but he's not. He's always transcendental, beyond the modes of material nature. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
And thank you so much. So there will be questions online also.
You think?
Devotee, yeah, oh, so many. So we'll start from here.
Thank you so much for engaging in that. Thank you. Very fluent quotation of all the slokas in Sanskrit, Bengali. And thank you. I really appreciate your presence here. So Krishna always comes in, whether it is material or it is spiritual world, Krishna is there everywhere. Krishna is in every atom. But then the incarnations are mentioned that Lord Chaitanya came simply, and then the future is predicted also. So is that only thing fixed, or there is like God every time that like instead of waiting for Kalki Avatar, is there a God right now somewhere?
Yes. As you know, Krishna, there's different types of incarnations. So there's, Leela avatars, Yuga avatars, Manvantar avatars. And there's also another kind of avatar called Shakti Avesh. Shakti Avesh means the person is a living entity, a jiva, not God, but they're empowered with all the potency of God. Shakti Avesh. Shakti Avesh. So like Vyasadeva was Shakti Avesh. Lord Buddha was Shakti Avesh avatar. And Srila Prabhupada is Shakti Avesh. Because no one can, the verses there in Chaitanya, nobody can spread the chanting of the holy names without being empowered by Krishna, by God. So Shakti Avesh avatars, they can be they're coming. And there can be more Shakti Avesh avatars. More. We don't have to wait till Kalki. Actually, practically most, if not all, of the acharyas in our disciplic succession were Shakti Avesh. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaura Shakti Swarupaya, Gaura Shakti Swarupaya, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Namaste Gauravani, Sri Murtaye Dinatari, Rupanuga Virutapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine, Madhurja Ujvala Premadya, Sri Rupanuga Bhaktita, Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti, Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti, is the Vigrahaya, he's the personified mercy of Lord Chaitanya. That's the prayer we say for Lord Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So yeah, there's these type and those kinds of incarnations of Shakti Avesh may or may not be described in detail in the scriptures. That's why I mentioned the verse about Kirata Punandar Pulinda Kupasha. I mean, the commentary doesn't say that Srila Prabhupada, that's pointed to Srila Prabhupada. That's me, I'm saying it. And you can dispute it, that's okay. But I think it applies. And I didn't hear that from anybody. I hear that, that's my thing. I think it is pointing to Srila Prabhupada. So there will be others. Anyone who takes the mercy of Lord Chaitanya fully, some of even my God brothers, not even, but my God brothers have the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. There's no question about it in my mind. No question. The full mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And they're spreading Krishna consciousness wonderfully. In the line of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya. So that's wonderful. So I don't know if I answered your question. Will there be more avatars like that? Yeah. I mean, in the Vedas, we don't hear much description of Lord Jesus Christ either, or we don't. There's some Bhavishya Purana says something little about, but we don't find much about that, even though Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said that he was Shakti Avesh. And Ramanuja, the head of the Sri Sampradaya, is Ramanuja. Who's that? Lakshman, Nityananda Prabhu. I mean, like that. So he's also avatar. So there are others that may not even be mentioned. and we can know them by their teachings. Sometimes people, it's a funny thing that people will talk about others who claim to be avatars. You know, there's some famous ones in Bengal. But you have to ask the question, and Prabhupada asked this question. So if they're avatars, why did they change the whole philosophy? Krishna's teaching this philosophy and their philosophy is completely different. Why? If they're really an avatar, why would Krishna change the philosophy? He doesn't change. I mean, the emphasis is a little different. The emphasis is a little different. In Kali Yuga, the emphasis is the holy name. Yeah. And do they preach that? No. So another point is that in this case of Kali, Krishna comes as the holy name. Especially Kali Kali Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. Special. And Krishna also comes as Archa Avatar. Archa Avatar. You know, one of the functions of the avatars, you know, we've been ignoring Krishna so much. We ignore, he's there in the heart of every living entity. He's everywhere. Alaksham sarva bhutanam antarbahiravastitam. He's everywhere, but we don't see him. We ignore him. So, okay, he comes as the guru. He comes as the acha. He comes as in his incarnation to make it more difficult for you to ignore him. That's why. That's one other. You can't ignore. You can't ignore. He says, Chet Hare Krishna, please, please. We don't ignore that.
Microphone again.
The microphone?
Yeah. No, you need it so that we all can hear and we go to the online.
You know, so lovely. I should not ask you. I really enjoy because we are wisdom, I think. But I can see this thing, how people can prove avatar, examine the facts and reason. Because avatar actually doesn't care for that to me. When avatar comes, they didn't ask the devotees, you tell me to the world, I came to rescue the world. Avatar actually, I don't think I am worshipper of Sri Ramakrishna initiated. I saw all the things. He didn't care. He said, don't preach me. Because when they come, they want to rescue us. The only purpose to take us to know who is Vishnu and who is Vishnu. That is the purpose. Then we people, devotees or whoever, we create lots of problems for avatars. My question to you, does avatar really directly ask any devotee, preach me to the world?
Yes. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tatvata taktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sarjana. If you understand about me, if you understand about these things, then you'll go back to Godhead. You'll be, and then he says, the most dear person is that person who preaches about me. He says, last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Ya imam paramam bhuyam. Yeah.
Not how important Vishnu, but all the avatars come afterward, right?
Yeah. So it's no different. So Krishna said, could preach about me, and Lord Chaitanya said, Jari Dekha Tarikaha Krishna Upadesh. You spread around Krishna. So Lord Srila Prabhupada also said, just chant it. He didn't try to magnify himself. He said, chant Hare Krishna. Follow Krishna. So yeah, they recommend always pushing for Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Prithvi Tyachanagaradi Gram.
Yeah, Prachar. Hoy bhai more nan.
It's true. Otherwise we don't know.
Yes. Yes.
How do you feel? Thank you.
The
I was
mind-
always thinking that, true. Yeah, it is so vast energy. We can feel that, no?
Might be somebody from India.
Yeah, you can ask online.
You
No, I just wanted to request for online.
can request it online devotee.
Anybody online, Prabhus, Matajis, who might have a question, you could just unmute and. It doesn't look like it. Okay, okay.
You can go ahead. You can ask.
Do you have another question? No,
Yeah.
No,
he doesn't have another question.
I'm just appreciating your presence here.
Oh, you kind of, you kind.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Prabhu, yes.
Prabhu, one clarification. Thank you for the nice class, Prabhu. One clarification. You mentioned that the son of, I mean, God doesn't come himself, or God comes himself in this material world to, because you mentioned in the begin, I think in the starting, when you're in the beginning of the lecture.
Yeah.
So God comes himself, right, Prabhu? That is the correct one.
Yes,
Because
yes. So I was saying that in some ideas of religion, I mean, there's the Christianity and Judaism, and they have the idea that God cannot come, God himself cannot come to this material world. And it's only, he might send a prophet or a Messiah or a son. But that's not the Vedic, that's not our understanding. God comes, he comes, he says. Yada yada hi dharmasya glane bhavati abhutanam adharmas tadatmanam srijami aham. Aham means me. So he comes. I was just saying that to contrast some other religious ideas with what's spoken in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Little contrast, that was point.
sure, Prabhuji. And one more thing. So Krishna comes only once in the day of Brahma, Prabhuji?
Yes, in this universe.
Uh,
There's in other universes though. It's like the sun rising, it's always rising somewhere. So Lord Krishna's activities are taking place somewhere in this material world, in one of the myriad universes there. He is speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna someplace. He is lifting Govardhan Hill or something like that, someplace right now. And when you become purified fully and develop your devotion, pure devotion to Krishna, the first step of your travel back home, back to God, it will be to go to the universe where Krishna is exhibiting his pastimes and going there to assist him in his activities and get trained up. It takes some training. So you'll get trained in how to serve Krishna, very well there. Once we get make some progress like this. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
I would be away from the class because we were shifting something from the kitchen to the basement.
Yeah.
So this line Prabhupada says the purport. Hare Krishna. Thanks for a wonderful class. Without spiritual contact, matter cannot create.
Yeah.
Second line of the purport. It's a very nice point Prabhupada made. These days, people are so much overawed by the computer knowledge and the rocket science and so many automobiles and all. But they miss one point. Without the touch of spirit, the matter cannot move. Even though matter, there's so many machines which move automatically everything. People say, oh, so nice thing. But they don't understand the first thing first time the machine started, that was the button was pressed by a human being, not by dead body. So Prabhupada's word, just thinking, without spiritual contact, matter cannot create.
Yes.
It's a great point. I just want to
Really important. And now, of course, with the advent of AI, but there's somebody who programs that. There's a person behind all that. Everything. So same thing in this world. Behind everything, there's a person, Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabhavo, masta sarvam pravartate, iti madva bhajantema, buddha bhava samanvita. Someone who can understand that, then, they're develop their devotion for Krishna. But the materialistic point of view is they try to overemphasize the idea that matter is moving things, but that's not. It doesn't. It's not. Srila Prabhupada used to talk about how when he was a little boy, they had this phonograph with a Victrola, and he thought there was some person inside some person inside. But, it's all recorded. But there was a person, but it's not inside there. There's a person who recorded it. So there's a person behind everything. We may not always be aware of it, but being advancing hopefully in Krishna consciousness, then we can see that Krishna's everywhere in everything, not just Rasoham Apsukonteya Prabhasmi Shashi Shurya Pranava Sarnavedeshu Shabdake Pravush. Yeah, he's behind the sun, the moon, all that. Taste of water, everything.
In one lecture, Prabhupada says, if there is somebody dead in a house, some person died, and people come to see, they say, where is the body? They don't say, where is Mr. So-and-so? So Prabhupada said, why? Because even subconsciously or unknowingly, they know that something's missing. He said, one lady was crying that her son died, and Prabhupada said, if she's crying now, the son is lying there.
The body's right there.
What is missing? So that people are missing, that great people are missing.
And nobody teaches that.
Nobody
teaches, no university.
No,
Even the religions, the various religions of the world don't have a clear understanding of that point. The difference between the soul and the body. Practically, the Vaishnava teachings, Sanatana Dharma, Hare Krishna movement is teaching that clear understanding, which hardly anybody knows. And it's really, that's the basics of, because that's the beginning point of Bhagavad Gita. Beginning spiritual life is understanding I'm not the physical body. And thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, thank you. So I just wanted to say two things. The first thing is that for devotees who are online or even here, Prabhu is living today, which we don't want to really hear because we wanted it to stay longer. And I got so many messages from the devotee who are watching the class saying that can we request Prabhu to come here again and have series of lectures, maybe some home programs. We have worked on that one. This is not coming from me, by the way. I'm hearing from devotees reaching out to me and requesting that can we invite Prabhu to come here and have some series of lectures on particular topic. They're saying that your knowledge is vast. You are very learned in Vedic teaching. So we definitely want your association and
It's very kind of you.
hear
Thank
more
you.
from you.
Thank you. Yeah, sure. I can come. I'll come. But we'll have to work out the time and all that.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very kind. Hare Krishna. Jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki